Hey traders, I am Okane with Community Traders Live channel, and I'm doing this video as a guest on the Light Forex YouTube channel to bring the viewers here some of my technical analysis. I'm a price action trader. I trade naked charts, but there are a lot of details on a naked chart that you can use for trading. So I'm going to show you a few assets that I'm currently looking at and the setups I'm currently looking at and how I do my analysis. So here we are at the Light Forex demo charting platform for the web terminal, and so this is the EURUSD. I'm going to start with the highest time frame just to get the bigger picture. So what we can see here right now is that the monthly chart shows a support here, right? Look at this bounce here. So right now price is resting on this support. Now should this support break, then we are looking to short EURUSD. But for now it's holding. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep moving down to the next chart. That's the weekly chart. We see still support is holding. So EURUSD, as you can see here, has been going up and down. It's been sideways. So again, we see here the support is holding, right? So let's move down to the daily charts, and again we can see that the price has been going sideways, but we can also notice a downtrend here. So if we use the technical tools available here on this demo platform, I'm using a simple line, and we can see the price been holding this trend line for now. So if we move down to the 4-hour time frame now, as you can see, you have to adjust your line, right? When we move down the time frames, if you have a line from a time frame above that, it doesn't look as good, so you have to adjust it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just adjust it to these three tops now. Okay, so remember, this line is pretty much based on both the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame. Now what else do you see here? You also see higher lows. So you see higher lows as well as lower highs, right? So what we're waiting for is a breakout in either direction. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. Again, look how price is getting tighter and tighter in between these two lines. So sooner or later we're going to have a breakout in either direction, and we want to be prepared to trade in that direction. So preferably, if we get a break up here, I would not want to jump in immediately. I would want to have at the minimum this previous high also broken, and then you always need a target. So the way I trade, I always set up a target. So for me, after a breakout, my first target would be to trade towards this area, and then after that maybe all the way up towards this area. So I'm breaking down the charts. This is how I work usually. And if we get a break on the lower side, again, you have to be careful, make sure the previous support is broken. So for example, the previous low, I would even wait for this level to get broken, and then the next target would be this low, and then after that this low. So as always, manage your risks. Don't jump in to a trade when you already lost a lot of leverage. For example, if this candle breaks all the way up here, you don't want to jump in here because it may retrace back down. But if you get a better price just above here, above this resistance level, then that's a better trade. So that's my analysis for EURUSD. Keep these lines on your charts, at least these two, this triangle pattern. I'm going to remove these two and keep an eye on them. You want a breakout on either side, and you can do this by going down to the lower time frames, like going to the hourly and watching for a hourly candle to break before you enter the trade. So that's your USD. Let's move on to the next asset. Okay guys, now I'm looking at USDJPY here. The reason I'm bringing this asset up is because normally EURUSD and USDJPY are in negative correlation, and what we can see here on the daily charts is that the resistance here is not broken yet. Okay, So once again, if we move down the time frames step by step, we'll find some patterns. Now in this case, I'm going to cut directly to the pattern I found. So on the 30-minute time frame, yesterday I observed this trend here. You see how price has been going up, and then we got the breakout, and currently price is retracing to this level here. So there are two ways we can trade this. One is to again draw a line here. Once again we get a triangle pattern, kind of like the EURUSD. So what we could do, one way of trading this would be a break from this level and below. So the first target would be the support here, and then after that you would pick another support as your target. By target I always mean the price we're trading towards. Okay, so that's one way to trade it. We could obviously also trade this already here and setting a stop loss higher up. Of course, how you wish to trade this is up to you and up to the risks you want to take. Usually when I take a trade, I want my stop loss, which is called my risk, to be much less than my reward. So I want my reward to be twice as much as my risk. So for example, if I'm risking say 10 pips, I want the reward to be at least 20 pips. So, and also another method is to move down your stop loss into profit. For example, if you're entering here and then price is here and breaking this area, then you could bring down your stop loss. So in case it retraces again, you're still in the money. So you will remove the risk from that trade altogether. So that's a way of doing it. So do we need this line? We don't need to, unless price keeps coming up. Then we can drag this line along and use it later on. But right now what we could do is to move this line here. So we will try to draw a channel here using these highs and lows. So we can see price is in between here, bouncing up and down. So in case it breaks, you will know where price is heading. So this is what I like about price action. So in case, I say again, in case this level is broken, you will have this line as a target, because then price is very likely to move ahead up and try to reach this area again, which, as you can see if you look to the left, is the resistance in this area. And so that's pretty much the setups I have found on this asset. So let's move on to the final asset. I'm just going to show you Ozzy, and that's going to be the final analysis. Okay guys, the third and final asset that I'm going to show you today, AUDUSD, or also called Ozzy. So once again, step by step we do the analysis. We find that the pattern is bearish with Ozzy on the daily charts, and so there are multiple scenarios here that can happen. We could get a retracement back again. You can see how the trend has been a drop, retracement back to this daily trend line. And how would we know what's happening? Of course you can never know for sure, but what we can do is to look at this support here that became resistance. So this level getting breached could be an indication for another retracement to this trend line, right? So that's the most logical thing. But right now it's not happening, so we don't actually need to clutter our charts with these lines. I'm going to remove them. What we can do is to use the lower time frames and find another pattern to trade. So as we move down, we find more and more patterns. Now for the beginners it must be hard to see, but if you look at this area, you can see how price been going down, and yet we don't have a breakout yet. What we can also do is to draw an upper line. So once again another channel. So similar to the USDJPY I showed you, the channel was that way. The channel is going down here. So that's the only difference. And we can see a similar pattern here actually before. Look at this breakout here. So again, if you're a beginner, you're not used to price action, it's really hard to see this. But if you look at this bounce, the first, second, and the third, and then you see the breakout, right? So this is what I'm actually looking for here. So once again, we may sooner or later get a breakout here. And if we do, we can use these previous patterns here and trade this. So I'm going to remove this line now that you already seen that breakout. Obviously you may say, but hey, there is a breakout from this level as well, but that's pretty much the same thing. The breakout happened on this candle. That's what the important thing is. You can see it here again. This is the breakout candle, and these both of these lines intercept that same breakout candle, so we don't need to draw both of them. And now that we have the channel, what we can do, again, we could enter a trade. Again, we could be going short already with a stop loss higher up, and as you can see, the reward trading all the way down would be much higher than the risk we would be willing to take if we set a stop loss here. So it would be about maybe 4 times, 5 times, 1-to-5 ratio. So what we can do is to go down to the hourly charts, and once again we could redraw those lines, because when you move down to the lower time frames, you will find out most of the times that it's needed to adjust your lines. And here, if we look at it, we see that if we connect this level, this here, and this here, we find out that this peak here went actually above the upper trend line here. So now that we've seen this, I'm going to actually connect this area, and here you could wait for a breakout to trade this, and it would be safer to do so rather than taking it now, and then you may risk for the price to moving up, because once again, like I said, it's hard to see for beginners, but I see these things immediately here. You can see another channel on this lower time frame. So you see this price is inside here on the hourly time frame. So what would be the smartest thing to do is to wait for a breakout to trade this down. If the breakout doesn't happen, I mean, who could say that the price isn't going to get up here again, right? So, and remember, on the daily time frame, we said that the overall price was in a downtrend. So therefore, I'm looking for shorting this asset rather than going the opposite direction. So in the long term, it looks bearish. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope you learned something, how to draw these channels and do these technical analyses. If you did, please like, share the video with your fellow traders, and tune in for more. Thanks for watching.